I think the most relatable point for me, which I would say that this is the most important point, and that is the speed of innovation. That is very fast paced. So that is the most important challenge right now for the newcomers who are coming and starting new businesses.
So I would start that I think Andreessen Horowitz, right, so the biggest investor in the world, right? I mean, or one of the most successful. They a long time ago they identified different. They call it S curves, right? So this is the significant parts and changes in technology which impacted like world generation, right, and the world. The first was PC and internet, right? So this was the big revolution, tech revolution, which introduced all the internet. Second was the mobile.
I think that is the most deadly combination as well. If you are techie and you have the know-how of business as well, so that is very deadly combination, because nothing is hidden from you from the one side and nothing is hidden from you from the other side as well. Now you just need to go sell and market. That's it. That is one factor you need. Other than that, you're covering each and everything, right?
So I think there are many successful stories on both sides, right? I truly believe that you need to do what you love, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
and I think this is the major point here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ali. I'm the CEO of Al-Burraq Technologies. Today, we have another tech star with us, Dmitry. How are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you so much for giving us time.
Thanks a lot for inviting.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Dmitry, first of all, I would like to ask you for your introduction so that our audience can connect with you. I know you very well, but our audience needs to know you, right? So for them, you need to give
Sure.
your very brief introduction so that they can connect with you.
So happy to introduce myself. I'm Dmitry Kharchenko. I'm tech entrepreneur. I'm building tech more than 20 years, primarily focusing on startups and service talent companies. Was part of different exits and scale ups of the startups in several countries. In general, on top of it, I received different awards. So I'm active CTO and CDO, and plus contributing back to community by coaching, mentoring, and teaching in different academic institutions. So this is me.
Right, right. So tell me one thing. You started your job, right? And then you moved toward the business side. So what was the most inspiring thing that brought you from the job side to the business side? What was going through at in your mind at that time? I know it's a very old story, but I need to see that motive that was motivating you to go toward your own business.
Yeah, sure. So I think there are two different aspects of it. First of all,
Mhm.
is being engineer, right? So at certain point, you have an impact that you can give to the companies and to different solutions, but it's not covering full spectrum of what you might think you can do for the potential customers or for the communities and so on. And this was, I think, the first trigger. So for the first 10 years, I was doing engineering, building different business intelligence solutions, working with big corporates like Coca-Cola and Team Transportation and so on. And at a certain point, I said, well, I can do much more. And much more, it doesn't mean that I don't like engineering. I actually very like it. Since then, I'm a pretty successful CTO, I believe. But I said, well, the combination of business and tech is working for me personally much better, because then
Mm.
I can actually build long-term relationship with the customers. I can understand what customers really need. I can understand the product side. I can understand the business models and hone them towards
Right,
like a much
right.
better digital project. And this is how I came to the idea. Well, I want to be in both worlds, right? So also
Mm.
on the technical side and also on business side. So if I summarize, I believe that I'm a CTO by heart, right? So and entrepreneur by soul. So I don't know what
Right,
is
right. It's a
what is
perfect
more
combination.
heavy. Yeah, what is more heavy? But after all, right? I mean, I like to do both, right? So this is
Right,
exactly
right.
why I'm building the companies that I'm building.
And I think that is the most deadly combination as well. If you are techie and you have the know-how of business as well, so that is very deadly combination, because nothing is hidden from you from the one side, and nothing is hidden from you from the other side as well. Now you just need to go sell and market. That's it. That is one factor you need. Other than that, you're covering each and everything, right?
So I would not call it deadly. I would call it very inspiring and fruitful.
Okay, that's a
But
nice word. That's a nice cover.
but I think, yeah, in general, right? So I think when you have two perspectives, the first with that comes accountability, right? So because
Hmm.
you actually need to think from completely different angles on your
Yeah.
solutions, right? From one side, how to scale this from the engineering standpoint of view, team's point of view, but on the other side, you need to think about the culture of the company, of the business model of the company, of the revenue streams, and so on. So I think this is not for everybody, right? So, but in my career path, after tasting both sides, right? So I think I'm in a perfect situation, right? So for me personally, because I really, really enjoy both worlds, and I'm more enjoying the combination of it, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
where
Hmm.
you can come to the customer, to different startups, and actually make a real advice, right? So considering both worlds, right? So
Right.
and I think customers and different founders, for example, of startups, very valuing this, right? So this is why,
Hmm.
for example,
Hmm.
they work with TechBiz Global, and also with me personally as consultant and advisor in different setups. So I think it gives tremendous advantage.
Right, right. So you told us about one combination, and now I'm going to ask you about another combination, because you have hands-on experience in fintech and you have experience on cybersecurity as well. So, what do you
Yeah.
think about these, and which one is your soul, which one is your heart?
Good question. Thank you. So yes, I mean, I think for me, um, I started my career in cybersecurity more and business intelligence. And
Hmm.
cybersecurity, if you're talking about the startups, then the first startup I was part of was startup called Firelayers. It was a cybersecurity startup which is providing protection to the big products and corporates like Box, Dropbox, Google. And the company was sold after 2.5 years for 55 million to some cyber conglomerate called Proofpoint. So this was one of the most exciting experiences I had, because we literally built from day zero the startup, which was adding a lot of value to different customers. And then, if you're talking about the fintech, then I think so. It MoneyMap, then it was yeah, Bonify, and then for insurance. So last three startups which I was part of, right, so either founding, either leading all the tech and data part, were in the fintech space, and each one gave completely different perspective. For example, MoneyMap was part of the company builder, and I learned how to work in the setup of accelerator and company builder with thriving ecosystem. Then it was Bonify, and we scaled the company. It's recently, by the way, sold to Shufa. So this was also exciting experience, because we grew the company while I was there to 1.3 million B2C customers, which is a pretty big amount. So it was scaling, and for insurance, we were building with me. We launched a lot of different products, including products with Deutsche Bank. So it's upselling different insurances. So I believe that there is no more preference to particular industry like cyber or fintech. I love to do both of them. But what I really love to do, I love to work with people and data, right? Because in
Right,
every startup
right.
that I was doing, and in every company which I was doing, there was a significant part of everything related to the leadership and people management, right? So I'm
Hmm.
people first
Hmm.
person, right? So some engineers will say, no, we should be tech first. But in general, yes, I'm people first, and I do care about the people. And on the other side, I love the challenging solutions, which not easy to do, like was on every startup that I built so far. That's why it's less for me about the industry. It's more about the people and actual technology, right? So
Right,
I think
right.
this is more. perspective that I would take to answer your question.
Right. That was very political answer that you have not mentioned which one is the soul and which one is the heart, but let's leave that there. Uh, I have
Thanks for
another
the comment.
question.
Sure, sure.
I have to commend you, right? Because
Oh, good.
otherwise, uh, we should appreciate the good answers.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So the next question is International Business Times included you in top 25 CTOs to watch in
Uh,
2024, right? So
yeah,
how you were able to manage your slot or your space in that list? Because
yeah,
that is very encouraging and that is very admiring as well. So how
yeah.
you were able to manage that thing?
So I think it comes with different also perspectives and checks. So there are different
Mm-hmm.
awards, right? I mean, in the world, I'm less about awards, right? So I'm more about building good tech. So,
Yeah.
but finally, when you build several successful startups, right? So then I believe that you became noticeable, right? Especially if you are extroverted person. So, for example, I'm speaking in different conferences. I'm running a private company. I'm participating in mentorships. I'm also jury in Intel Ignite, which is a accelerator for deep tech startups. And finally, you become noticeable, right? So in public, and different publishers and different conferences, which I also giving awards, they start to approach you. And this is how I came to my awards that I had so far. Is one of the award was FinTech CTO, right? So top 25 FinTech CTO, which was very encouraging, I must say, because the other CTOs in the list, as far as I remember, were people like CTO Mastercard and so on. So it was really, really, I was really, really proud of it. On the other
Mm.
side, regarding the International Business Times, this was by one of the publishers who approached me, right? So obviously, I think some of the awards they are doing some background checks, right? So this is what happened with FinTech Award. Because you even cannot apply yourself, right? So somebody needs to nominate you. Then they are doing a lot of interviews, reference checks, and background checks
Right.
on your career and on
Right.
your achievements, whether everything is really valid and you are in the level that
Mm-hmm.
you can receive such award. Some awards they are doing a bit less, but they have different approach, right? So they are doing different internet screenings or making a call with you, right? So to understand what is your perspective, whether you are fit into this
Mm-hmm.
definition of the award. So, but I think when you are in the field, when you are publicly present, you becoming noticeable, and if you really have a skills, I think there is a good chance that you can receive such awards, right? So,
Right. Right.
so I think you just need to pick up the right ones, because some of the probably awards they let's say they not on the level and quality that I would be
Mm-hmm.
happy to participate. Let's put it this way. But some of them they are pretty good, right? So it's also recognition, and I think I'm doing enough in the communities to really be a real proud part of such recognition. So
Mm-hmm.
so this is how I got it. But I
Right.
one even I didn't nominate it myself, right? So and second one I don't remember already. I think they approached me
Got it. Got it.
for
Got
this
it.
award.
So one important aspect in it is building your brand as well, like you have become a brand for now, because most of the CEO, if you talk about, they are not very much extroverts, right? So how would you say that
Mhm.
how much important it is to for the CTOs, for the CEOs, for any co-founder founder to be an extrovert and getting noticed, because many people are doing a lot of great work but they're not getting noticed because they are very introvert and they are working on their own or they're working within their teams, something like that, and they're not packaging themselves as a brand, right? So what do you think
Mm.
about that?
So I think there are many successful stories on both sides, right?
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
I truly believe that you need to do what you love, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
and I think this is the major point here. Obviously, if you need, for example, you are building a product which is need to be public, right? So, and you are doing different public activities, right? So, like for example, speaker opportunities in conference and so on. Then obviously it helps, right? So it helps to gain better customers. It helps to gain recognition that we just spoke. It helps to recruit better talent, right? So and be noticeable. So, but it doesn't mean that not having a brand is bad, right? So there are many great examples, right? So from many different companies, including Apple, including other and successful startups where the CTOs, for example, they were not having such a public presence and were very encouraged. For example, there is a full space of open source, right? So in an open source, many contributors, they only name of them, right? So, but it's very respective, at least to me, right? So that they actually contributing to the world tech and developing it. So I think it's a matter of personal choice, and I think it's more about how you feel about this, right? So I feel that my contribution as a in two worlds between the tech and business. So my contribution is not only, let's call it hidden, right? So when I
Okay.
do, like in previous company, I grew the team of, let's say 40 people or 50 people, and I was doing personal coaching and so on. And this was never noticeable in public, right? So because it's
Mm.
somewhere, something hidden in the, inside the company, and only the people in the company know about this. But some of the things when you are contributing to the community, right? So, or for example, you are doing participating in different speaking opportunities with a private business school, and there, right? So I think it's also improving the credibility of this business school, right? So with my personality and opposite. So, and I don't think it's bad actually to build it, because it opens some doors, right? So if you want to go this way, but there is nothing bad about being introvert, and I think it's the same equivalent of having this perspective. So
It's a very beautiful message for the people who are introverts as well, and they are doing great jobs. So it's a very beautiful message for them that you should, whatever you love, you should do that. If you are an introvert and you love to be like that, that is fine. You can still do great. So that's a very amazing message for the people out there.
yeah, I totally agree, right? I truly believe
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah. Okay. One more important thing is that is also your area of expertise. That what do you think about using data for your businesses and for other purposes, and it is still compliant, right? So, what do you think about that? Give us put some highlights on that.
Yeah, sure. So I think the data became a very integral part of any
Hmm.
business that
Hmm.
you are doing
Yeah.
today, right? So if you are doing a business and you don't look in data, right? So then
Right.
probably you are a bit outdated. Let's put it
Hmm.
this way.
Yeah, I agree
So,
with that.
so that's why I think the data is a norm, right? So it's not like it was a long time ago. So if you are talking about the startups and compliance, especially, I think
Hmm.
it's very exciting to build startups that can have nowadays digital access to many different data types. For example, let's imagine you are building a fintech startup, and you have access to personal data, to the banking data, to the insurance data, or to the tax data. So, and nowadays you can actually combine all these different perspectives of data and build astonishing products, right? So because you can analyze and personalize, especially different offerings to particular person. So the other aspect of it obviously is data governance, right? So you just cannot take the data and do whatever you want with it, right? So I mean, obviously there are many different regulations and so on, but from my experience, what is more a heavier part of in data governance is when you work with certain corporates, and those corporates have their own internal regulations. Like for example, you are working with a big bank, and then you are fully compliant with the European Union regulation, right? But finally, this bank is coming, and this is your either design partner, either customer, or integration partner. And then finally, they come in and giving you a book of compliance requirements, and you need to build on top of your product another product which will certify this compliance. So I think what is important, you need to consider data by design, right? So when you design the products, because nowadays governance and compliance is also integral part of any solution that you do in data, whether it's health data, whether it's fintech data. And it's important for the CTOs, I believe, that to consider it from the first design of data lakes or lake houses or pipelines or the storage of the data, so it will be secured and compliant and will answer 100% the needs of the future request of your potential customers. So I think this would be the message, right? Nowadays, also, there are a lot of tools that you have that can help you with this journey, right? So it's not that you need to build everything yourself. It just means that you need to partner with good vendors, with good tools, and your engineering team or security team or compliance team, whoever is having the responsibility and accountability on the data parts, need just to really go with innovation and see what is in the market which can answer your needs, and not wasting time, right? So to build everything yourself and trying to reinvent the wheel, right? So when there are a lot of different very good products on the market.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just use the existing lot, your existing resources, and do whatever you want. So that's a very important message. Now let's go toward the other side. When you are doing so much work, when you are doing your business and you are being involved in so many activities, so of course your social life, your family life gets disturbed. How do you manage that?
Next question.
We are going to send it to your family that we asked him, but he didn't respond to that.
So let's put it this way, right? I mean, it's your personal choice, right? So to have a 9 to 5 job or to have a job, a life of entrepreneur, right? So I mean, I believe that majority of the entrepreneurs, they don't have 9 to 5 job, and I think in many cases they like it, right? So because you are making such choice not because of some push, right? So usually you are making such choice because your intrinsic motivation that you really believe in and you want to do something in this area. So this is one thing, right? So second thing, I believe that it's much easier to come to the things like burnout and things like this when you are entrepreneur, if you are not really taking care of yourself. This is the second thing, and obviously it's impact your also personal life, your family life, and so on. So I think the second thing that I want to say is that every entrepreneur should put a time, however it sounds, to take care of himself or herself, because whether it's a private time to, I don't know, play guitar, whether it's having a walk, whether it's meeting the friends, whether it's a short vacation, whether it's thinking time, whether it's reading the book, it doesn't matter, right? So it matters that you need to do a break, right? So from the fast-paced environment that we are in now, and this is definitely something which is very important. Right. And the third thing, I think, if you're talking about the family rights, I mean, it's very important to understand that how to explain that.
I'm laughing because I get similar pressures from my side as well.
Yeah. So you know the answers then.
Yeah, so, I know the answers, right? Because I know that how much family life gets disturbed, how much social life gets disturbed, right? So what I do is to resolve that. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I think what is important is to find a setup that works, right? So you selected the to be with your wife, right? So because obviously also because of motivation and love, hopefully, and so on, and then finally to take some part of your life out because of business, it would be not fair, not for you, not for your second part, and especially for the children, right? So when you are growing the children, you obviously want to be. So my solution to it is very simple. I put in my calendar the slots which are untouchable, right? So it's dedicated to my family. For example, every one day in the week, I'm finishing whatever I do, meetings, business, flights, or something at the middle of the day, and I'm spending like half a day with my kids only.
Right.
So and this is the rule that I'm following for like quite a while already, and I feel that I'm with my kids, and we really have a quality time together, and it's happening every week and not once in a while. Second thing, what I'm doing is obviously I spend time with my wife without the kids, which is also important. So and for example, every Friday, now we changed the day, but every Friday we are going to some I don't know, like a theater or restaurant or something to spend just time together, and I think it's also contributing a lot to this feeling of good life, right? So and third thing what I'm doing is obviously we are doing once in a while vacations. So I'm trying to take long vacations. Not always it's obviously possible, because taking 2 days of vacation, I'm not sure it helps really. so because especially if you answer in the phone. So I'm trying to take once in a while at least, or at least in summer, 2-3 weeks vacation where I'm I don't know, working one evening in every week, and that's it. Because completely disconnected, it's very hard. And then we are doing some road trip or flying to some country together, right? So it's a whole family. So I think it's doable, right? So it's very hard because the business is, like roller coaster. But if you don't do it right, so why you have a family, right? So, I mean, that's why I think it's your personal choice, right? So to put aside all the activities in business and really to be with your family, like, I mean, fully, right? So including mind and including the time spent. I think it's very important and it's doable, but it's very hard.
Right.
That's
It
my
is
answer to
very
the next
hard.
question.
Yeah. and I was going toward the next question, but you started answering that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
So
right.
that is a good thing that you are managing that somehow, one way or the other way. Whether you are being successful or not, that we will ask your wife, right? But for now, at least you are trying to do it, right? Uh, the other thing is, next time whenever you are going to any country, you are more than welcome to come to Pakistan and be my guest, right?
Sure. Thank you very much for inviting.
Yeah. Okay. So other than that, let's discuss. Let's get back to work, right? And start. Let us know the pros and cons of remote work, and how much you are been involved in remote work, and things you like, things you don't like about remote
So I think our world pretty changed, right, in the last 3-4 years, right? So if
work.
let's call it long time ago, the coming to the office was a norm, right? So and it was let's call it a default setup for many
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah.
This changed completely, right? So and now companies that reduce either remote first, right, so approach, either hybrid approach. Yes, some companies still requiring when hiring to come to the office, which is totally fine. But the fact that this shift happened, it requires, I believe, the change in how you work, right? So because you cannot really make the same thing what you were doing in the office in remote work, right? So at least the approach should be different. And I think the true success comes when you understand that the setup of a remote first company, right? So when like we have in TechBiz Global, right? So currently we have all the employees and all the contractors all over the world. So that's why you just need to find a way. So it's very important not to disconnect, in my opinion. So because when you are disconnecting, then the things start to fall apart. Things start to downgrade in productivity. So it's still very important to do different, let's call it routines, meetings, team building events. Yes, you are now doing it remote, but it still should be integral part of how you keep your culture, how you keep your motivation, how you build personal connections with your team. So I think that the way changed, but the essence did not change, because you still want to be part of your team. You want still to people to share the same values of your company. You still want to that they have intrinsic motivation to be part of this culture. So I think the approach changed, right? And another thing is I believe that it's relevant to everything, all the approaches, including hybrid and in office and the remote first. I think what is
Hmm.
important is also to have fun, right? So, I mean, without fun, I don't think I want to be part of any
Of course.
organization. So I think it's very important, and it really helps, right? It relaxes
Right.
everybody.
Hmm.
You're enjoying what you are doing, right? And not only just
Hmm.
having meetings. So
Right.
if the company has the opportunity to get everybody on site, right? So
Hmm.
once
Hmm.
in a
Hmm.
while, like for example, we're planning to participate in one conference in Europe, and probably we will also organize the team event there. So I mean, when you have the opportunity to do so, definitely do it, because it's still not instead, right? So if you're a remote
Hmm.
first company, it's not that you are doing everything instead of physical gathering, right? So it's just the way you work normally, but it doesn't cancel any physical meetings. Some of my team members, which are in the same country, for example, Armenia or Tbilisi,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Georgia, they just simply making a local gathering, right, and going to the restaurant together and so on, and super encouraged.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Right.
yes, the world changed and the way of working changed. This is definitely the statement. Yeah.
I can completely second that. And because I am involved in remote work from last 10, 12 years, so I do understand the challenges, I do understand the pros, and I can completely second what your ideas are. Let's come out of that. And there's another thing which is taking over all the world, and that is generative AI. So tell
Yeah.
us about that. What do you think is the future of work, considering the takeover by the generative AI?
So I would start that I think Andreessen Horowitz, right, so the biggest investor in the world, right? I mean, or one of the most successful. They a long time ago they identified different. They call it S curves, right? So this is the significant parts and changes in technology which impacted like world generation, right, and the world world. The first was PC and internet, right? So this was the big revolution, tech revolution, which introduced all the internet. Second was the mobile, right? So all the activities that we were doing on desktops, right, so came to smartphone that everybody has right now, and the offer of mobile internet also changed the way we work, the way we communicate, the way we build applications, for example, and so on. And I believe that nowadays the next such shift is everything related to AI and generative AI. So and the AI exists for quite a while, right? So this is not new thing. This is not something that introduced, with ChatGPT, right? So we were building solutions for quite long, right? So with different modeling and machine learning and so on. But now, what shifted? It's came to the public, and in the way that I think that what is the biggest change and biggest impact, so that it became easily accessible, right? So now, especially you mentioned the remote work. I think it is not the future; it's already today, right? So I think that this shift already happened, and it's only growing over time. So let's start with day-to-day work, right? So I'm using generative AI every day, right? So my team is using generative AI almost every day. So in TechBiz Global, we are doing, for example, I don't know, things relevant to content, right? So things relevant to researches. We are using ChatGPT. If we are talking about the developer experience, right? So I mean, as I said, I'm CTO by heart, right? So I mean, I'm dealing a lot with tech and also developer experience, right? So, I mean, if 20 years ago, right? So I mean, you were going to different websites and then Stack Overflow and so on. So now you have, for example, I don't know, Gemini, which is Copilot, right? So the like coding assistant. You have GitHub Copilot, right? So that can generate pieces of code for you, right? So I mean, and you are contributing in a completely different way right now. So you have even personalized products like, for example, AWS Whisperer, right? So I mean, it is something that can do for you the same like GitHub Copilot, but it's already even optimized to certain vendor, right? So it optimized for the AWS cloud, and it can help you also to generate a lot of things, right? So without going to search or to build even yourself. So I think that's why, to answer your question, I think that I believe this is not only the future, is already the reality, because many companies and already onboarded, including us. And I think that what is more important, that if you don't onboard, right, so then probably you will not have the same competitive advantage already, right? So it's already deterministic, right? So it's determining your success, because if you use this type of technologies, probably you will be more successful and develop things faster and be more productive, right, in whatever area of the, for example, startup you are building. So I
Right.
think it's very important. And one more thing I must say, I think that overall we are living in like fantastic times, right? I mean, the access to technologies like generative AI type of, when, for example, you can recently there was a Sora release, right? So which can turn the text to the video. Like before, it was possible with let's call it pretty heavy production, right? So, and specialist which understands in video. Now you can actually do it yourself, right? So I mean, it's accessible, and you can turn your text to the videos to with different other technologies like I don't know, like DALI to the images, right? So, and it's fantastic, right? Because 20 years ago, you actually needed to hire a bunch of people, right? So to specialists in certain area, and now it's much easier done. It doesn't cancel different professions, right? So that we have in video, for example, production or image production, but it changes again the way of working and changes the accessibility of technology in public. So to summarize, I believe that it's
Okay, so next thing I would like to discuss with you is how do you build your teams? What are the most important factors you keep in mind while building it, and what is your team topology basically?
yeah. So I believe that technology should serve the customer and business
Hmm.
need, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's why
Hmm.
there is no. If you build a startup as CTO, I don't think you should do things by the book.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
I think it's very important to understand the right setup and stage of your company,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
then to really find the best setup of team that you would like to build. So let's start where it's very different between startup and service company, right? I mean, I'm doing the both worlds, so that's why I see it's completely different. So if we are talking about the startup and we are talking about the CTO, there are different setups that you can build, right? So let's start that you can follow, typical Spotify model, right? So with squads, with different cross-functional teams, right? So with engineering managers, head of engineering, and product, a separate function. In the early stage, not always it's possible because you have a very small team. So you are actually building one team, which is one squad, and then you
Yeah,
decide
right.
whether you want to hire T-shaped engineers, like for example front end and back end, or you
Hmm. Hmm.
actually hire full stack engineers that can do both worlds.
Right.
And at the early stage startup, you usually don't invest a lot of money in, for example, Scrum masters and so
Hmm.
on. But with
Hmm.
big organizations, I believe this is the must, because you need to hire people to take care of the processes and agility of the company, especially if you are working in an agile way with your customers, for example, B2B customers like banks and so on. I think it's very important. If you are talking about the level of tribes in this setup, which is dealing for the certain part of the product, I really believe in this. I really like that you organize in the bigger organizations the setup of the team, which is divided by certain product part. For example, I don't know, payment systems, administration, and I don't know, front facing, or different parts of the product, which is, for example, can be certain feature sets of the particular product. So I think what is important here, it is not the exact topology, is to really to understand from all the sets of topologies which functional service teams, cross-functional, with agile, with no agile, with metrics set of management and leadership. There are many
Mm.
different approaches, but what is important, you need to understand what works for your team, right? So, and for your company.
Yes, yes, yes.
Another aspect to consider is the technology itself.
Mm.
It's a
Mm.
big difference how you design the teams. For example, if you have monolithic architecture or microservices architecture,
Mm.
then
Mm.
in every such setup you have more or less opportunities to make things more efficient. So
Right,
that's why
right.
this technology stack and domain-driven design also very impacting the how you
Mm.
set up the
Mm.
team.
Got it,
Um,
got it.
I think also one aspect, especially relevant to the startups, right? So what I would say, hire the people that you really need. So because especially nowadays the market is now in certain way, and many startups should be cost effective, right? And that's why, for example, it's very important really to understand whom you need. So in TechBiz Global, right? I mean, we are working with a lot of startups, right, in recruitment and software development side. And sometimes customers are coming to us and saying, for example, we want to hire, I don't know, product owner, right? So or certain several engineers. And then I have an advantage here because I'm CTO myself, and I can come and say, well, actually, you don't need to hire these people, right? So you probably need to make a slightly different team topology, which can really answer all your needs and not overspend money, or to have, for example, a combination of in-house employees and outstaff employees, right? So which can be a bit cheaper. Um, so this is, I think, to discuss in a nutshell about the team topology. It's about the setups, about what technology can allow you, and about how to make this all cost efficient, right? So how
Yeah.
to
Mm.
not overspend actually when you don't
Mm.
need to.
Mm.
So
That makes a lot of sense.
in yeah, and how we hire in general, right? I mean, it obviously depends on the hard and soft skills. But for me and my teams, what is very important is everything related to communication, right? So because especially in remote work setup, I think it's very important. People need to learn how to communicate remotely, how to express their
Okay.
opinions, how to really work in the team, and so on. So we are checking this
Mm.
thoroughly.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that you need to be a stage communicator, right? So no, this is definitely not, because as we spoke before, there are a lot of people which are introverts, which is totally fine. But communication is not about public speaking. Communication is about the willingness really to contribute to this way of communication and to fit the communication style and culture of the company and so on. The second thing what we are choosing, I think, we're checking is that people we want to work with is being authentic, right? So it is totally fine that you don't know something, right? So we can help you to grow. We can help you with courses and coaching and learning and whatever is necessary. But what we do require is that you will be honest, loyal, and authentic, right? So on what you can and cannot do. So, and this is very encouraging in my teams. And if I would say the third one, probably like I will skip all the obviously hard skills which is required for the any position, but I think everything related to like this solution oriented mindset, because it doesn't matter what you are solving, right? So for internal team or for the customer that you have, um, I believe that having this solution oriented mindset is very important, because this is what move company forward, right? So this is what
Got it.
move
Got it.
customer products forward. So
Yeah.
if I would name the three, right, so this would be it, right? So communication, being
Mm.
authentic, and solution oriented
That
mindset.
makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense, and uh, this will be very helpful for the companies because, of course, there is a minimal need of whatever you want to do.
mhm.
So you should know that what are the minimal resources you need for to execute that. So
True,
that happens a
true,
lot.
true.
Okay, so at the last, I want you to give some advice to the aspiring entrepreneurs who are going to start their product businesses or services businesses, right? So give some advice to them so that they can learn from the mistakes we have done, and they can avoid those at least.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I already told at the beginning. having doing like engineering and business for 20 years, I
Hmm.
believe the most one of the most important things that that you can help yourself in success I don't know how you do it like this, or you do it like this in the Asia, is really truly love what you do, right? So, I mean, if you don't love it, if you don't like it, there is always an opportunity to do something else that you love, and you should you really try to pick up the companies, to pick up the your environment of the people, right? So around you with whom you enjoy doing, because then you will be much more successful in life. You will be much more happier. Your family, you will be much more happier because they will see how thriving and happy you are. So I believe that this is the first advice. Is definitely try to stick to your values and really work with the people that you like, and building businesses that you like, right? So if you don't like I don't know, like a certain area, right? I mean, space tech, right? So don't go there. There are many other industries like cyber, fintech, data, HR tech, ed tech, right? I mean, pick up what you like, and there is the world is very accessible right now, and you can easily find something across the border, right? I mean, you're not limited to your geographic location anymore. So this would be, I believe, the first thing. The second thing, I think, is I truly believe in power of network. So I think you over time don't neglect to build your network. It will help you at the end, right? It will help you with either finding a job, either to making another successful deal in the business, either to just simple advice, or to find a co-founder. Build your network, right? I mean, I'm building it very well, and I came to the point where I was introduced, for example, to some former presidents of the countries, right? So, and this is the power of network. I really believe in this, and when you contribute to the network, I believe that you will get something good back out of it. And the third thing, I think for the young entrepreneurs is that the speed of innovation is very, very fast nowadays, right? So I believe that the technology and innovation cycle is like 2 3 years, right? So in 2 3 years, the technology is going so fast that what was 2 years ago probably already obsolete. So that's why to be really successful, you need to learn all the time, right? So you need to dedicate your time, your team's time to the learning, and it's inevitable. You have to do it, otherwise it's just you will be outdated, and your other companies with whom you compete will have a competitive advantage. So learn all the time, right? So whether it's generative AI, whether it's some new tool, whether it's a new approach, methodology, whether it's making some certificate or business degree, just learn all the time. This is how you will build your network. You will be on top of the topics which is happening, and you can practically apply them in your startups, for example, or your service companies. So I believe this would be my major three advices.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and I hope, and I think the most relatable point for me, which I would say that this is the most important point, and that is the speed of innovation. That is very fast paced. So that is the most important challenge right now for the newcomers who are coming and starting new businesses. So I hope the audience would be able to learn from us, and I would like to thank you, Dimitri, for your time and for getting into so many details. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for invite. I was super happy to participate, and let's keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Yes, for sure thing, sure thing. And thank you so much for the audience that you have paired us for this much long. And keep watching the episodes so that you can learn more from such people. And we'll keep bringing more tech stars to your screen.